We're very excited to be here to chat with everyone about insane in the brain, using neuroscience to build the optimal candidate experience. I'm Kara Yarnott from HireClix, along with my colleague Jen Leon. We are really interested in your reactions and how you feel about what you learned today. We have launched the HireClix Human Experience Lab, which is really focused on using neuroscience to build an amazing candidate experience, amazing content for your candidates. Now, Jen and I have been around the talent acquisition block a few times as former practitioners turned consultants, and we've seen a lot of exciting things come and go in our industry. We think this is going to stick, and we're really excited to share it with you today. I'm going to turn it over to Jen to get us started.
Thanks, Kara, for that introduction. I'm really excited to be here and be able to share with everyone how we're using neuroscience for recruitment. Up until now, we've been using Google Analytics to allow us to understand the effectiveness in our online content. We know the click-through rates, the bounce rates, and so many other awesome details and data that allow us to continue to use for measurement. However, we have no idea what was looked at, what was ignored, or how long it was looked at, and we certainly have never been able to understand the emotions that were expressed when one experienced our content. Let's dig further into the development of our career site. What were we trying to accomplish when we decided to write that copy, build in the videos, have those drop downs? We're wanting to we're wanting to inspire and intrigue the right candidate to want to engage with us, to really see our employer as their employer of choice. While Google Analytics tells us what was clicked on, neuroscience tells us so much more, allowing us to have the data to make content and candidate experience decisions based on behaviors and moods of our target audience. Let me ask you this. Have you ever put a bunch of energy and time and research into a concept that you really had a high degree of certainty of the outcome? Then everything fell on its side? Well, that's exactly what happened with this video. Have a look. Okay, so this is an 80-second video. 80 seconds. We would have never expected an 80-second video with heavy text capture and engage the talent audience. Heck, I wouldn't even expected anybody to watch it beyond 30 seconds, maybe even the first 10 seconds. Well, I was wrong, we were wrong. We actually added this video as part of one of our neuroscience studies. We asked the respondents to watch the video, and we did tell them that they can exit at any time. Here's what we found, and we were shocked. Not only did the respondents stay the entire length of the video, they were actually even more engaged toward the end. So that last 10 seconds had more engagement than the first 10 seconds. And then as we looked at the video even more, we recognize there's different segments of the video. We see values pop up at the beginning, it switches to statistics, and the sound increases, and the intensity of the sound also increases. And then at the end, there's the logo. So then we wanted to figure out, do generations respond to those different segments differently? And here's what we found. Gen X really responded and became more engaged during the statistics section and the sound section, where millennials, that beginning values section, kept their engagement longer. So this really got us excited to see what other preconceived thoughts we may be wrong. Now Kara's gonna myth bust for us.
So as you can tell, we believe certain things about content, but we don't have any data to tell us one way or the other. So we busted the myth that a 80-second text-heavy video with no people in it would be unengaging. So we really started to think, and this has got us excited as we were launching Human Experience Labs, to think about some of the other myths we believe we understand or believe are facts here in talent acquisition. That the first paragraph of your job posting is the one that gets the most attention. Is that true? Is it not? We can do a study and find that out. That if you're trying to attract women candidates, that the videos that you show them have to be skew more towards women. Do we know that as a fact, or is that something we just believe, or a myth we've been told? Or even where your ad is appearing on a page. We sometimes believe the upper left is the place that it should go, but do we know that? We definitely don't know that. And like we learned with the video, data will tell us otherwise. And that's why neuroscience and recruitment is so exciting for us, because we think there's so many things that you can do to really attract your right candidates. So one of my favorite ways to use neuroscience in recruitment is on design concepts. So here you have 3 different design concepts that a group would have to pick from to attract their audience. And I've done these several times in my career, where what typically happens is we have an internal group of our committee, some HR people, maybe your marketing and communications people, look at all the concepts, collectively decide after about 5, 6, 7 meetings, which one to go with. And then many times, often the most senior person in the room overrules everybody else and picks whatever she wants anyway. What we didn't do through that process at all was see how the people we are interested in attracting with these ads actually react to them. And when we put design concepts into a study, we're able to figure out which of these 3 options, there's 3 different taglines, there's 3 different images, what works best for the audience that you're targeting. We have completely got rid of the guessing, or what appeals to me is highly unlikely to appeal to the same people that this mining ad is for. So that's one of the exciting ways to get that guessing out of your content. Another way, job postings. I mentioned this earlier. Do we know what is most attractive about a job posting to a candidate? We have a lot of clients that ask us to help them with job postings, and this is just fascinating. So you can use a neuroscience study to see what parts of the job ads, for example, the social worker ad, are most attractive, get the most attention from your target audience. And we could learn that it's something buried here in the middle of the job ad. And as we dig into that, these 3 sentences are really about the schedule for this social worker. And that was getting a lot of attention. This might not be something that you thought about highlighting in any other way in the ad. When you have that neuroscience data, we understand what's going on inside the brains of your target audience. We can start to write better job ads, and that's really important in attracting your candidates. Jen's going to walk you through exactly what it is that we're measuring when we do this.
So why neuroscience in recruitment, and what is it tracking? So while we use Google Analytics to understand part of the story, neuroscience gives us additional insights. Neuroscience tells us the story before the clicks. So first, what we're capturing is attention. What is the respondent paying attention? How long are they paying attention to it? And then engagement, again, that goes for how long are they looking at it again? So engagement starts to look at memory forming. And we get to even go deeper. We get to go to emotions. When someone is experiencing your content, is there joy? Is there sadness or even anger? We get to find that out through neuroscience. Attitude is interesting because we know when we have a positive experience, or excuse me, a positive attitude towards something, we want to go closer. We want more of it. But then we also know that if it's a negative attitude towards something, we're reverting. We will step away. So we're, again, able to find that understanding through our neuroscience studies. So while attention, engagement, emotions, and attitude allow us to understand the subconscious mind, we add in the opinions, which is the voice of the job seeker. That is the conscious mind. So we can combine these to really deepen the meaning of our insights to increase our confidence in our decisions. Kara's going to take us a little bit further and help us understand what is collected through this.
So what's exciting about this to me is data. I'm a little bit of a data nerd, and we had thousands of lines of data through one of these studies, and we apply data analysis techniques to come up with all kinds of information about what is connecting with candidates, with potential candidates from that, engagement or attitude, what is really connecting. So we start to dig into the data, roll up our sleeves and understand what might work best, what is going to be most attractive to the people that you are trying to connect with your job opportunities. And what we often find with clients is that this is very valuable when you're looking for targeting specific groups. Maybe they are women, transitioning military, campus students. You do a lot of entry-level hiring. We can start to really slice and dice the data that we gain from the study to help you understand what is working and what is not working in your content, whatever that might be. And that really leads us to some fun conclusions. First of all, we get an optimal candidate experience, which is hopefully the reason you're at this conference, but also to, an overall goal, something we have so focused on in talent acquisition is building that optimal experience. And as a talent acquisition leader, you now have so much power around the return on the investment. Before you even build out that 20-page career site and spend that labor as well as cost on that, we can understand exactly what's going to work. And so you can be much more targeted in how you spend your limited budget. We can also quickly show the return on investment. You can see it on job ads. When we work on what is most important to the candidates, you start to get higher quality applicants from that. So you start to have a much stronger return on investment. And then, because these are truly consumer marketing techniques that we are applying to talent acquisition, it's not something really being done in the industry yet. So you yourself get to be the innovative thought leader and bring everyone in your organization together, people outside your organization, to understand how powerful this data can be and the results that you're able to achieve through all of that. So Jen's going to walk you through exactly what happens in a study.
Yeah, so what does go into it? How do we even begin that? The very first step is really being able to understand exactly what questions do you need answered? What is it you want to find out? What type of materials do you need to know more about? Is it a career site? Is it an apply process? Is it a job ad? So once we understand that, and then dive further to see, is there a specific target audience you'd like to learn more about? Maybe the difference between how does an engineer review your content versus maybe a salesperson, and then also from diversity or campus. So that we're capturing that, so we can come back, build the study into the platform, and then be able to recruit those respondents. So we recruit individuals that meet those criteria that you had provided of your target audience. And once they come in, they'll sit at a PC, and where we'll actually attach hardware to them, and then we'll collect the data. And so we tailor fit the insights to what you're looking for. So these are the modalities, so the hardware that we're using to be able to capture all these insights. So we look at eye tracking. So it's going to measure the pupil size, where the eye is going. So it's allowing us to know what's being looked at, for how long, that engagement piece as well. The facial expressions, so whether you're smiling or you're frowning or you have a brow furrow, that comes together and helps us understand the types of emotions that are being conveyed. Biometrics, that helps us understand the physiological response. So while we might have on our page 2 different pieces that respondents are experiencing joy, biometrics is allowing us to understand which one experienced more joy. So you're able to understand the differences between all those emotions and the same emotion. And then again, our conscious insights with our survey. So that's where we can put in at any part of our study to understand, did you see this? And what did you feel when you had that? So what is your opinion on that? So it's those things that cannot be captured through neuroscience. So we're pulling it all together. Now, Kara is going to talk us through what we actually get out now. What do we get out of that study?
So there's so many different things that we can study. And I'll show you a few examples here. The first one would be a Facebook ad. So let's say you wanted to understand the impact your Facebook ad was having on your ideal candidates. So this is just a generic Facebook page, and say someone was served an ad here on the right-hand column. We would do a study with the respondents to capture what they're looking at and how much time they're spending. And then you get a heat map result that could look like this. So the more intense color shows us where they spent more time, where they might have gone back to or revisited to understand what is most impactful. In this example, we see a lot of intense color here about the middle of the copy. So we would dig in to say, okay, what is that sentence telling us? What are people looking at and reacting to? They spent time on the tagline, commitment, teamwork, growth. They looked at the company's logo. They hopefully looked at liking the page and applying. So this starts to help you understand exactly what is going on when your ad is out there. Today, you'll know how many people clicked on it, but we don't know what they were thinking about, what they were experiencing, or why they clicked. Another way to look at this is on your career site, using something we call areas of interest. So if you look at this Netflix career site, the blue boxes outline what we've identified as areas of interest. So here, freedom and responsibility has a blue line around it, or blue box. The job search area has a blue box, and then the big hero image. And what we can find out in a study on your career site really gets to understand what people look at first, how much time they spend there, and then do they go back to it. So in a study of your career site, we might be surprised to learn that the first place people looked was freedom and responsibility. I think we all naturally potentially have a myth that they look at the hero image and the job search box, but a study would tell us whether that's true or not. And as you look here, you can see how much time they've spent on that area of interest and how often they revisited it. The second most visited area was that job search box. Spent only 3.4 seconds there, but revisited it 7 times. So it is getting a lot of attention, just the second item. And the third would be this larger hero image, where they spent over 10 seconds and revisited it multiple times. So we start to understand where people's attention and engagement are, and probably equally as important, what they aren't paying attention to. We spend a lot of time building out these career sites, and we don't know if people are absorbing all of the content. We know if they click on things, but we don't know if they've actually absorb what you're telling them. So this is one of the great advantages of a neuroscience study. And a third potential way to use this would be the apply experience. And we have been, thanks to the Talent Board, over a decade now, really focused on that candidate experience. And the apply process is a big part of that. So we can use neuroscience, we can conduct a study to help you understand what's going on in your applied experience. So this is an example of applying actually for a warehouse job at Amazon. And what we can capture here are some of the emotions Jen talked about earlier. What emotions are they experiencing through the process? So maybe on this very first, they've just clicked apply and they're ready to go. We could be capturing joy. They're excited about the opportunity on that very first step. Then they go to the second step, doesn't really have a lot of reaction, which is fine. They're filling out some additional fields. That just gives you a little more information. Potentially they get in the process to the dreaded, how did you find out about this job question, that has this very long list of things you have to scroll through. And we could be capturing those job seekers' emotions. And it could be discussed like, oh my goodness, I've got to pick something out of here. Usually they pick the first or second thing, so you're not even getting good information, but you're understanding how they're feeling. And what's interesting here is that many of you probably have Google Analytics on all of these steps of your process. So you know where they leave. You might know someone abandoned here, but you don't know what was going on at that point in time. With neuroscience, we can understand that. An additional step in the process is actually an online assessment. We might be able to capture some surprise here. So maybe the candidates weren't expecting to have to take an online assessment. Maybe they abandoned here or not, but we understand how they were feeling. We could potentially use this information to say, okay, let's talk about the assessment before they even start the apply process so they know what is coming. So this really helps you go beyond those Google Analytics and understand what's happening with your candidates so that you can provide the most optimal candidate experience and get more qualified applicants faster than you are doing today.
So I'm sure by now your wheels are turning of all the different opportunities that you can create within your own organization of applying neuroscience. There's just a few others that will probably trigger some different inspiration for you. So now what do we do with this? We stop guessing. We use neuroscience to drive better content and candidate experience decisions. Google Analytics gives us great information to a degree. However, we still have to make some assumptions along the way. Neuroscience gives us that why, helping us move from clicks to connections. Whether you're developing new content and experiences or needing to audit what you already have, you have the opportunity to figure it out before investing to create those connections that you're looking for. Applying neuroscience to recruitment has changed the way we understand the effectiveness of our content and experiences. It's building the bridge of insights needed to increase our ability to reach and connect our target audience. We want to thank you, and we look forward to continuing this conversation. You can find out more at HireClix.com, Human Experience Lab.